Good afternoon, this is Sergeant Russell. We have a training class today on situation report, or SITREP. It's an unclassified brief. The references we're going to use are ATN 171-COM-4079. The task is to create a standard situation report, or SITREP report. Conditions are you are recovering from a firefight in the village of Corona. It is 1300 on June 10th, 2019. You have assembled in an abandoned building south side of the town. There are no enemies in the immediate area, but you know reinforcements from a neighboring town from the north are en route. You have 6 confirmed kills and no prisoners. There is a field hospital 3 clicks south, and you have 2 soldiers wounded. You have 2 MTVs stationed outside the town about 500 meters to the southeast on the other side of the Constantine wire. There were no demolitions required for this mission. You have 2 wounded of your 10 soldiers, but you're doing okay. You're left with 1,000 rounds of ammunition, and now you have half of that. Your vehicles, to your knowledge, have full capabilities and equipment. Your plan is to move alongside the buildings out of sight to the LMTVs to the southeast side of the village. Then take wounded soldiers to the field hospital. Then the commander of your battalion wants a SITREP report. The standards are preparing a SITREP report that you can send to the battalion commander. When you're out in combat arms, or even when you're in country or in any situation, you might be called to do a SITREP, basically just a situation report where your commanders can assess what's going on with you and what's going on with your unit. It's very, very important to know all this information and gather it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through this because it's one of your warrior tasks, and we're going to practice and then later get evaluated. Okay? The risk assessment here is low. We have fire, there's exits, there's multiple exits and a backup exit. If it's in the fire is in the front, go out the back exit. If it's in the back, you go out the front exit. Okay, meeting place outside for accountability. It'll be outside in the street. For trash, where our trash cans are located over there. If there's an active shooter, make sure we hunker down, lock doors, assemble class. Tripping on cords, make sure there's no cord hazards or anything like that. Anything that you can trip on. And the weather, check the weather report. There is no weather incidents or anything like that scheduled for the duration of this class. Okay? So our overall risk assessment is low. Alright? So classroom environment, just basically everybody just needs to sit where they are. We're going to do a little group activity as well. Where for materials we just need paper and pen. So the first thing I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to demonstrate the proper format for SITREP report. Just look at the screen here. Now when you're starting. to standard format. Okay, according to the TM or the ATM. Okay, so when we go through this, sit rep, you know, we're going to go line by line and kind of go over what each line includes or what it needs. Okay, so line A is date and time. You see, we're at 1200, 10 June 2019. Line 2 is a brief summary of a threat activity, casualty inflicted, and prisoners captured. So you can see that we are recovering from the firefight in the village of Corona, assembled in the abandoned building on the south side of the town. Reinforcements coming from neighboring town from the north. Killed 6, no prisoners. Okay? Line 3 is friendly locations. We indicated we had a field hospital 3 clicks south. All right. Line 4, operational vehicles. We have 2 LMTVs in the southeast 500 meters. Those are going to be an essential part of the mission. And line 5 is defensive obstacles. Now this could be many things. This could be a minefield, a tank ditch. It could be a road crater, Constantine wire, which is what we indicated in the scenario. So we got a Constantine wire between us and the LMTV. Line 6 is personal strength. There's green, amber, red, and black. With green, that's full strength, 90% or more fit for duty. Amber's reduced strength, 80 to 89% are fit for duty. Red is reduced strength, 60 to 79% fit for duty. And the unit still is mission capable. But if you're black, then it's reduced. You have reduced strength, which is 59% or less fit for duty. Okay? As you can see from the scenario, we're in amber status because we had 10 soldiers and only 2 of them were injured, therefore putting us in between, putting us at 80%, and that's amber. Okay? Line 7, or Gulf, is the classes and supplies. So there's class 3 and class 5 supplies. Ammunition being a big part. How it's characterized is the same as what we were just talking about as far as personal strength. Okay, they use the same system. So because if we had 1,000 rounds when we left, which is what the scenario said, and we only have half of that now, we're looking at 500, so that's 50%. And if we go back to it, and you look in your handout and in your TM, the 50% is actually in the black, which is not fit for duty, okay? So that's something you need to think about, okay? Line 8 is a summary of all tactical intentions. So line 8, or hotel, is move alongside building, out of sight, to LMTV transport. Okay, so we are intending to, that is our plan, to move to the LMTVs and get those soldiers who are injured to safety at the field hospital, which is the friendly location. Okay? Once we do that, that is the complete report, and then we send that report up to the battalion commander, just in that order. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to give you some more scenarios so that you can practice and then kind of create your own sit reps. Then, once we are comfortable with it, we're going to evaluate that immediately after. It's going to be a go or no-go situation. And if you refer to the attached here's the attached grading sheet, it's a note, all your task is to create a sit rep and to simulate calling it up to the battalion commander, okay? So, you need your pen, you need your paper, you need your scenario, and after practice, then we're going to do an evaluation. If you do not pass the evaluation, if you get a no-go, then we will retrain and then reevaluate, okay? So, now that everybody's done the practice and everybody's gone through the exercise and got evaluated, we would conduct an AAR at this point, basically saying what was good, what was bad, what we can improve on, what we did, and then, get feedback. We also want to record the results that we got. Make sure everybody got a go. If they didn't get a go, make sure we annotate that on our report. So with the feedback, pending any of your questions, we go back and forth, any questions that come up or any feedback that anybody in the class wants to give us, and then we'll do is basically that is the whole class of a sit rep from start to finish. And now you can properly develop a sit rep in the correct format. Then we will do an inspection of the room, make sure all the supplies are accounted for, make sure everybody's personal belongings are accounted for. We're also going to reassess this, the risk assessment to make sure that all our controls were effective. And after we do the final inspections and the class is dismissed, we will report those results up to the chain of command. So, if nobody has any questions, that concludes this brief.